everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Rebecca. I'm a spiritual medium and animal communicator. On this channel, we cover channeling, wisdom from spirit, and navigating the human experience. Thank you for joining me. And today I want to talk about something that it kind of all came together over the weekend, really. I was traveling cross country on a train, and I used to travel a lot by train. For various things and sometimes for leisure, but I haven't really done it for a long time. And so I was traveling this weekend, and I just remembered that feeling of it being so nice to be able to actually just sit and relax and kind of be in your own company. I grabbed a tea before I left the station, and I was sat with a book, but I didn't actually feel that I wanted to read my book. I just wanted to sit and kind of watch the world going by outside. And it was so beautiful because I was just seeing so much life. Spring is such a beautiful time of year anyway. I'm in the UK, so if you're elsewhere in the world, you may be coming into winter. But we're coming into spring here, so there's lots of new animals being born. The flowers and the trees are all coming back to life, and it's such a pretty time of year. And so I was traveling on the train, kind of watching out the window in absolute awe. It was quite foggy and quite frosty because I left quite early, so it was still a bit chilly. But I saw so many different animals kind of going about their business, and baby cows, sheep, with their lambs, and just so much life. And I was so immersed in this lovely journey of kind of just being in this moment and really seeing everything. And I looked around in the carriage, that thing of like needing human connection, to be able to say to someone else, oh my goodness, like, did you see all the deer in the field? And as I looked up, everyone else in the carriage was glued to their mobile phones. And I appreciate, this was on Saturday. I appreciate some people may have been, it might have been a quiet time for them to do some work. But it's just the fact that phones have, while they've become so helpful to us, they've also massively hindered us as well. And I felt quite sad. And Spirit said to me, don't be so caught up in the busyness of life that you're actually missing the beauty of it. And I think so often that happens. We all have any number of things that we have to do in a day. If we're working, we're picking children up from school, being a parent, being a carer for our animal companions. Perhaps we're traveling, perhaps we're looking after other people that we know and love that aren't very well. Perhaps we ourselves aren't always in the best of health, so we have to, perhaps take ourselves to appointments or undergo treatment. There's just so much that we're always doing on a daily basis, minute to minute. And I find it myself. And one of the things that I've realised over the years is that when you don't listen to what your body needs, and your body will be asking you to slow down, when you don't actually listen, you will then be forced to rest. And quite often that will come in the form of perhaps not feeling so well, or say something might happen, like you might have a power cut, or something that you use often, that you kind of rely upon in your daily life to get things done, may suddenly become unusable, and you will be forced to create space in your life to enjoy the peace and to take a step back and to actually listen to what you need. And I wanted to share it today because I'm becoming more and more aware, and I don't know whether it's an age thing, an awakening thing, or it might be all of those things. But I'm finding in my own life a real craving to get back to simplicity and just to enjoy peace. I remember when I was about 17. Yeah, I was about 17. And I had a vocal coach for assisting with public speaking. And he was teaching me how to breathe and things like that. And he was a friend of a friend. And so I kind of knew him, but I didn't really know him. And I was quite shy. I'm still not the best with new people. but I was very shy in my younger years, and so I was quite anxious when he picked me up to take me to the venue. And looking back now, I was probably just babbling. I was just, you know, how you know, one of the things I've got friends who always laugh about, and I don't know, I think it's an English thing. They always say to me, "You always talk about the weather." Whenever I haven't seen someone for a while, or if I meet someone new, I'll always make a comment about the weather, and it makes me laugh because I've really honed in on the fact I do it. I've noticed it. It was a really automatic thing before, but I think that's a bit of an English way. It's a bit of a way of breaking the ice. And so this was kind of the conversation I was having, sitting in the car with this chap, and he turned around. He was such a lovely guy, a really, really nice man, but he turned around and said to me, "You don't have to fill every silence." And at the age of 17, and being really shy and a bit anxious in company of somebody new, I was a little bit kind of like, oh, like I felt like I'd done something wrong. And he was like, silence can just be really comfortable. I don't feel the need for us to be talking the whole way there. It's fine for us to sit in silence. And I think he'd gone on to explain it because he could see that I felt a little bit, perhaps a little bit hurt, like I'd done something wrong. And I never really understood it. I didn't understand it a lot throughout my younger years. You know, if I was at home on my own, I'd put some music on to listen to, or I'd lay in bed at night, and even if I was tired, I'd put the TV on as like background noise. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're somebody that likes to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just noticing how we're always so keen to fill the quiet, yet we're always talking about, I need a rest, I wish I could have a break, I feel like I need a holiday. Yet we don't seek out those small moments throughout our day when we could enjoy the silence. And something I've noticed that I do, and I think probably since the advent of mobile phones, I know a lot of people used to do it with radios. You could in fact buy shower radios, is to take your phone in to the bathroom when you're going to have a bath or a shower and put something on to listen to. I will listen to quite a lot of podcasts and things, or shows that I know by heart, you know, shows that I've really enjoyed in my younger years that I know by heart, and they bring comfort. I enjoy listening to them. I'll pop something on to listen to while I'm having a shower. And it's kind of my way of decompressing. It's really nice to kind of relax and enjoy kind of, you know, washing and taking the day off, but also having a little bit of me time. But I was shown as well, kind of thinking back to what it was like before I had my mobile phone. And I never used to do that. I wasn't someone that took a radio into the shower with me. I used to shower and just be in that moment of while I'm showering. It was something I was doing, and I was mindful of what I was doing. And so I'm feeling more now that I want to get back to the simple ways. I actually find now as an adult, I crave those moments of peace. I really enjoy when I go out into nature and I'm just listening to the birds and, you know, the sound of the leaves rustling in the breeze, and I'm craving the peace from the kind of the material world. And while I love a lot of the material things that we have, you know, like I said earlier, things that do make life easier and things that we just enjoy. There's nothing wrong with enjoying material pleasures. It's part of our experience upon the earth. But we're constantly bombarded with filling our life with, you know, the next thing. It's like the latest phone comes out and it's got all this new features and new technology, and you want to have that because you don't want to miss out. You want to stay current. Or the latest fashion, you know, how fashion changes and things just move very quickly. We're often being kind of like, the image I have is like going down the rapids, and you're going down the rapids and you're trying to navigate them, trying to stay in the canoe, and you're not falling out. But it's so fast and everything's whizzing by, and you really haven't got a moment to take in the scenery and actually enjoy the fact that you're on this journey. And it kind of made me feel a little bit sad, but it made me realize when I first started this journey, you'll hear there's a lot of buzzwords that get used in the spiritual community, and like anything, there's buzzwords, but the whole mindfulness thing, being mindful and living in the now, And it always just sounded really naff, and I never really understood. But the more I look into, like our ancestors and the way that people used to live, they weren't so connected. They had no choice but to live in the now. They weren't, in cases where people perhaps didn't have an abundance of food, and even in, some countries in the world still don't have an abundance of food, they're not thinking ahead about doing a big shop and going out for dinner or making plans like that. They're thinking, what do I have to eat today? And again, this isn't like saying, we should change everything. I'm just talking about finding that balance and being more aware, being mindful of the things that we are doing right now. Your journey to work, if you're on the train, perhaps instead of spending the whole time catching up on work on your laptop or on your phone, perhaps dedicate 10 minutes of your journey just to sit, to look out of the window and observe, 3 things that you can see, or just sit and think, okay, how do I feel today? Because I think we've lost a huge connection to ourselves as well. How often do you actually know how you really feel? And that's a really difficult one. I think that might be a video on its own, realizing how disconnected we are from our own selves. Actually being in the moment of what actually matters now. Because something else I was realizing, we're so bombarded by the news, we're so bombarded by every single country and in the world and what's happening here, what's happening there, and there's this constant state of fear. I've spoken about it before, this focusing all the negative things that are happening throughout the world, and people living in a constant state of fear. And while there are difficult things in everybody's life, there are also many beautiful things as well, and yet we never hear about those. We rarely hear about the good things that happen, and there's so many good things that happen. And I just came to this realization. I was walking my dog, and I'd come back from walking my dog. I was in the car, and I was listening to the radio. And that's something I haven't done for quite a while. I'll listen to my music in the car, but I had the radio on and the news came on, and it was all so negative. The minute it came on, I was like, oh, go away. I just had this lovely walk in nature. I was really enjoying the spring weather. And I just thought, go away. And I thought, no, we weren't designed to know everything all of the time in every single country. What matters is where you are now in this moment, and look at your life. What things in your life can you control? What things in your life do you have the ability to make better or worse with your decisions? Then extend that out to your family, to your friends, and then perhaps, if you live in a community that's quite connected, to your street, and then to the country as a wider whole. And I'm not saying don't care, because as somebody who's deeply empathic, I really care about the lives of others, wherever they are in the world. But you cannot take on the fear and the responsibility, because you can't do everything. You cannot. It's no good me thinking for an entire week, being really stressed about a situation in Australia, when I physically have no way of getting there to help. I can't physically do anything. So actually all I'm doing is creating more stress in my life, which is then going to affect the things I do and the people I interact with, and push that stress onto them. You can send love, you can send prayers, you can send healing intention to those areas where you are unable to physically go and do something. But you cannot take on the burdens of the world, because you cannot fix them. So it's looking more at your small part of the world. What can you do? How can you make a difference? But actually living your life, not getting so caught up in the busyness of the world that you actually forget to live, and you forget about the beauty that is within your life. Because I'm very aware, and again, I think that's an age thing, I'm very aware that our time here is limited. None of us know how long we've got. So imagine if you spent every day of your life being angry, or every day of your life worrying that the end might be coming. you've missed out on all of the wonderful things that you could enjoy as well. So yeah, just a little kind of message from me, and something that I witnessed myself over the weekend, and the feelings that I'm having, sharing the feelings that I'm having myself, to slow down and look more simply at things, but also a reminder from Spirit that, you know, we can't be everything to everyone all at once. We cannot be everywhere. We can send love, prayers, and healing intentions, but let's focus on where we can make a difference, and that starts with us. Thank you for listening today. If you do like my comment, please like, share, and subscribe. If you are interested in my animal communication and wisdom from Mother Earth content, please head on over to my other YouTube channel, The Words of the Wild. I thank you so much for being here today, and I will speak to you again in another video. Thank you. Take care.